Country radio journey today. Log on to training.nti.org.bb.
And I believe another Wednesday. Nice at the studio this afternoon. We got the one and only Slug You Down. One, brother.
Manners, and respect. NTI.org.bb. NTI.org.bb. Over 5,000 free courses, and this evening I need everybody to tune in. I need everybody to keep locked on. I need everybody to turn up your radios to all, because this evening we're managing emotions in times of uncertainty and stress. Let me tell you this again. Managing emotions in times of uncertainty and stress, developed by the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. This course will provide you with the knowledge, skills, and strategies to understand and manage your emotions and those of your students or clients. The 10-hour online course is designed for people working with youth, especially school staff, including teachers, counselors, principals, and non-teaching staff. Is beginner level, offered by Yale University. It takes approximately 9 hours to complete, and one review said really helpful for anyone who interacts with others. I took this course to help with social and emotional needs of my students, but it really helping with social emotional needs of my family too. Managing emotions in times of uncertainty and stress. Managing emotions in times of uncertainty and stress. NTI.org.bb. Over 5,000 free courses. And this evening I have a set of questions to ask someone who's very skilled, knowledgeable, experienced, and educated in this area. And Bajans, listen now. Listen, and don't tell me when they need this. Every single Barbadian need this. We're dealing with anger management this evening. Every single Bajan doing message or WhatsApp 95.3 holler not me sluggy I good, because if it go on you know Auntie and holler Dr. Ronnie here they doing a good job, or holler the Prime Minister ain't doing a good job. I can show you that every single body in Barbados got anger management problem. You say one thing, somebody must reply. See, on the other side, somebody must reply. You can't say it's one person, not the next, it's all of it. Something that's trigger all Bajans, and social media is help prove it every single day. So this evening, deal with anger management. But Indian and Chris big one in the South, enough love, shout outs, thanks for going. Don't know whether it was in Chicago, big everybody in Chicago that accent Uncle Sluggy and show me nothing but love. I'll be back shortly. But I need Indian to introduce us to our guest, and you will hear why he is the right person to answer these set of questions that we have to ask him.
Nice. In the studio this afternoon, we got Mr. Kellman, who holds a master's in counseling psychology and is currently the senior counselor at Evergreen Associates. He's both an individual and a family counselor. Anderson began his counseling journey as a guidance counselor working in Jamaica and Barbados. Now, during his early years, Mr. Kellman worked extensively with young people in the areas of career development and anger and conflict management. He also consulted with the Getting On Board program, which was aimed at assisting at-risk adolescents. On the corporate side, he facilitates workshops on managing stress, personal empowerment, emotional intelligence, avoiding burnout, and conflict transformation. He also works with companies to assist specific workshops in response to their needs. And he's also a regular speaker at PTAs, church groups, and other community-oriented groups. Inside the studio, Anderson Kellman, good afternoon. Welcome to the Midweek Mindset Hot 95.3 FM, the Vibes Radio Show.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, family.
Yes.
With you, right.
Good afternoon, guys.
Yes.
I thought you all figured in some horse on there, so you nervous?
Get nervous.
Just
I
I speak so much on a regular basis that the voice goes.
Oh, that's good, man. Listen, I want you to save your voice because we got some questions, and as you know, this is a serious topic. I don't want too heavy to run anybody, but for me, this is extremely important, especially with going on in the Caribbean. It's a society. I heard Indians say you were in Jamaica. In Jamaica, how different is working with youth in Jamaica and youth in Barbados?
Well, I mean, I worked in Jamaica back in 1996 or so. I worked in high school, and as you can imagine, it was an inner city school, and there was quite a bit of violence, I would say that back then, the issue of gangs and that kind of stuff was gained root. And I would say in Barbados that's gained root now. Right, over the last few years, we've seen that issue of persons getting involved in gang activity, and that is fueling the violence.
So, I already mentioned related to the gang just now, and they said it's slowly getting now.
Yeah.
So, if meaning you have seen it before, is there anything that you're seeing now that you saw back then that scaring you, that worrying you?
Yeah, well, the kind of level of violence, and also the size whereby persons will come together and fight. You know, that sort of behavior. You see persons like, for example, fight starts with one individual, and 10 more persons come in, and then it becomes a big brawl. You know, minivan stand or wherever. So that's the kind of situation, because oftentimes, you know, it's like what happens is that persons will kind of reinforce other persons. You know, they'll kind of fuel them. You know, and that.
He's called it pick up fire.
Yeah. You understand? So what's going to happen is that, you know, killing, bitty. You understand? And that kind of fuels the entire anger, and of course, the whole issue of the conflict becomes more intense.
Yeah, we hear you mentioning conflict, just that's no.
Yeah.
You know, oftentimes we hear terms, but we don't understand them in simple terms. So when we hear a person you mentioned talk about conflict, or and then we hear people use that fancy terms like conflict resolution. But the average person on the street might not know what that really means, or what they're supposed to do, or how they're supposed to act. Can you explain in simple layman terms what conflict resolution means, and how do we teach that to the youth, and how early can we start, and how can we start?
Well, I would say it's just a disagreement. So me and you got something going on, and you know, we ain't talking. You know, we vex, and in my heart I feel a certain level of anger toward you, and if I see you, you know, it can be trouble. You understand? All right. So really, this is a disagreement, and the issue though really is this, that we have to begin the whole process of teaching anger management from young, from I would say from toddler stages, because it becomes an ingrained behavior over time. And if we start teenage years, we're too late. All right. So it has to become for us an issue that begins very, very early, where parents are able to help children understand right and wrong. You know, that is your brother's toy, not yours, and give it back to him. You know, they have to teach children to understand the fact that, you know, this is your chair, your seat. You know, you sit here, you don't sit there, and they themselves must also demonstrate, you know, good conflict resolution as well too, because if parents are fighting all the time, children see parents, you know, selling their issues with one big brawl. Then of course they learn from very young that Mike is right. You know, and we still have a lot in terms of counseling.
Mike is right.
That's right. You know,
that big is exactly. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I remember there was an incident many years ago, whereby this youngster went to school. I'm not gonna say where, and he's a 4-year-old, behaving in the worst way. You understand, right? You know, fighting with students, and even used a language that was abusive to the principal. So you can imagine what happens. You got sent, you know, the parents and stuff. And what was so interesting, when the parent came, you know, the parent said, well, you know, I don't know how this little boy has come this way. You know, I don't know, but as soon as I get home, I get bleep. See what I'm saying here?
So you said anything wrong with it?
Of course, because that little guy had internalized his parents.
When you said bleep, I guess you mean cut it tail.
No. Abusive language, man. It's like,
I know the abusive language, but it boiled down to the boy with again, BD.
Well, yes, you should be there.
Right.
But also the language that was colorful as well too. Right. So what was happening there was that.
Oh, so you're saying the language is wrong, not the beating?
Both.
The beating wrong too?
It depends. Let me
I know when the old people in environments believe in beating.
Let me hold it up here.
I know when the old people believe in beating, so you know you're saying so from you.
Let me hold it up here, right? Okay.
Go.
Right. Well, the abusive language, obviously.
That wrong for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beating.
No. My response to the beating is that physical punishment is one element of punishment, and it should be reserved for the most extreme situation and circumstances when all else has failed. Now, I know, Sluggy, that some persons ain't gonna agree with me, and that's okay too. All right. But if from the old school, right, I believe that there's nothing wrong occasionally, not always, with one hard lash. I know you can tell me about slavery and all that kind of stuff, but children who are young are tactile, and therefore there's nothing wrong.
So you don't think that that's teaching violence?
I think that it depends on the extreme.
Right. No, I
and the
mean,
extent.
are you teaching a child or disregard the abuse, disregard the cussing, or all that? Cause you burn fat on that period. You know what I mean? I'm speaking about specifically lashing, in whatever way you choose. Let me say to take the child wrong, whatever. You don't think that beating the child when you say wrong is teaching it like you correct issues with beating?
I think that if you overuse
Especially if
it,
you rationalize it.
no, if you overuse it
I
slightly,
mean one lash, I mean abuse, disregard abuse, I mean one lash. You teach,
No,
right?
I
Let
don't-
me say Indian have a 5-year-old, right? And let me say I practicing everything you said, but it's one hard lash like you say.
Right.
You don't think that that's teaching
So-
a child
so
that as a
Indian-
last resort use violence?
so India has gone through all the process.
Yes.
He has spooned the child.
Yes.
He has taken away the child's
Yes.
toy. He
Yes.
has sent her into his room.
Yes.
And all that has failed.
Yeah.
I think a hard lash is not teaching violence.
Good. And it is not.
No, I think you tell the child, listen, what you have done is so, and also you're going to tell the child as well too,
Yes.
Sluggy,
Yeah.
I'm giving this lash because I've spoken to you, I've seen to your room, you've not responded, you need to feel what's going to happen when you disobey.
Right, and you tell the child that.
That's right.
Right, so there's what you're asking. Telling the child that is to you is important. But for me, telling the child that they're doing that is teaching the child it. Teaching the child this is how you correct things. If you exhausted everything else, this is how you correct things.
But see, what you're doing though is that you're saying to the child there's a consequence for what you have done. Okay? All right, and you have tried, and I know that this is a big issue, and I'm gonna get some close for it.
Don't worry about it.
But that's all right, right? Because
we having a discussion.
Because I stand on the premise
Yes.
that it should be the last resort.
Yeah.
And it should be reserved for just a few cases, right? Where a lash can suffice for the child.
I get you. I a bit conflicting.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
But you know what the good book says though?
Yeah, well,
Huh?
I don't know.
Spare rod, spoil each other.
But you know what you use a rod for? But you know when the Bible talk about training we should go on order and spirit, right? You know what it was speaking about?
The rod was used for several reasons.
Right, but
Pull the sheep back.
Right, not
Okay.
violence, not beating.
But no. There was a time, Sluggy, when you had to break the foot of a sheep to stop that sheep from going astray. Otherwise, it will plunge over the precipice.
Right, so you think I literally need break these sheep foot?
But there were times with Sluggy when it happened. There were times when, as a shepherd, you had a sheep that was misbehaving and was at risk to hurting itself, and therefore
Put a chip in to break it foot.
So to
But
save
I don't wanna
his
see,
life,
but you see the
to
TV
save his
teaching.
life, to save his
But
life.
these questions that
No,
these questions that get answered,
Sluggy,
you know, like
Sluggy,
people they say a lot. These
Sluggy,
questions that get
I'm
answered
not
me.
saying you break a chest for you though. I'm just saying that the rod was used to hook and pull back,
Yeah.
to corral,
And the back foot
but
part,
also for that sheep that just after everything,
it's on cruel. Yeah.
after everything,
Like,
everything.
This life so rare, cruel.
after everything.
You know, if they take
You
about
had to-
love and
you had
peace,
to-
you know, it be that positive reinforcement. They take what they take, but when they keep beating and breaking your foot, this so cruel to me.
But you see, it's
Go
just
on.
like peace and love are critical elements. But you must understand that in society, there are some folk who, because of their very outlook, their very orientation, they threaten your peace. Because as you can see me as well, that locking a person in prison is harsh. You have to give a man's freedom. But I don't keep that man in society, there's a conference here, in society, to interfere with your peace and my peace. So that's a consequence for his behavior, Sluggy.
If you turn it worse, if you lock me and you don't got enough programs or projects in place.
Different story now.
Like,
Right,
you see what I mean?
right. Different story.
So that already explain where it come from. Maybe when you say explain to the child.
That's right.
So if you lock here, you make sure you got things in place that correct that behavior.
Of course.
So you're saying that's be.
No,
You're
no.
not saying that's lock
We
up.
and we
Go.
talk to the child.
Go.
Talk to the child.
Yeah.
Son, Sluggy,
Mm-hmm.
I've given you a lash because I'm concerned with your behavior. We've spoken to you over and over again about this. Nothing has changed, and therefore, this is what it is. So not just beat the child unmercifully, that's abuse.
You put the responsibility on me. So you tell me, I as a child, I'm responsible for if you get beat or not.
Of course.
Right, go. No, I understand from that standpoint.
You agree with me?
Yes, and they do on
All
that
right, so
standpoint.
we
For sure.
together then.
Huh?
We
On
together.
that, no, for sure.
Right, so let's look at conflict, all right?
Go.
So the conflict has to resolution has to start from the time the child is young, okay?
Very young.
Right through adolescent, teenage years, right through the child's early life. They have to see it not just taught, but also models by what I mean,
Model.
right? And that has to become for a parent very intentional, right? So it is not just simply that, because the ones that I've seen a lot of in our society has to do with persons not being able to handle conflict at every level.
Yeah.
So you go to the store to buy something, and the person who is
Oh God.
doing the customer service, right? They get upset with something and they just berate you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the customer.
You spending
You know,
money.
so at every level, I'm seeing it happening, right? And the issue here is that if that person do not understand the mind, their anger, right, and therefore can't deal with conflict. So the heart of conflict resolution really is how to manage your anger, how to understand yourself, because anger is okay, you know. There's nothing wrong with anger. It's a natural, normal emotion. So one interferes with you, or so one interferes with someone else, and you feel anger. The issue though is how do you deal with it from a personal perspective, so you don't become aggressive and hit out and become a social misfit by your behavior. How do you manage that anger in a way that helps to be able to still maintain your interpersonal connection? That's the issue.
So, like, you know, everyone will they deal with the youth, right? That's my life until they die, right? You know, son, you will meet young people. I know, tell myself, like, this young person will respond to anything that they feel they got a mental issue. Like don't matter, nothing they say can't work. And then all of a sudden, the youngster will change. And then some of them you can't get rid of. How do you tell them the youngster is just being paranoid, just being mischievous, fictitious? How can you tell that different than see this child? Like something might be a little wrong. You might need special counseling apart from what daddy can't provide. Because you got children, might want children, then children that you adopt in real life. So sometimes I'm talking about me, I'm talking for the boy, I'm talking for Sluggy. Sometimes I might not know the beauty situation, but I might be reluctant to think something wrong with this child mentally. You get me? How can I tell the difference?
Well, sometimes a child needs to have a success event. I remember when I taught to the associate here at the school that's now defunct, we had a program whereby we took children into the workplace it was Tuesday and Thursday, because we understood that there were some children who were not doing very well. And if you're in a system where you're failing constantly, then eventually you start to believe that there's no real value or worth within you, and you lose that social connection, cohesiveness, engagement, because other persons are getting through, but you're deemed a failure, And so something what persons may need is just to have just one success event that helps to restore that sense of self which they have lost. The other thing though, which I also say though, is that there are some children who need special counseling because they may have had some kind of trauma, they may have had some kind of issue in terms of maybe even abuse, right? And they've shut down, basically, they've disconnected. And those persons may need to have someone to kind of sit with them and to understand where they're coming from, what the issues are, and to basically lure them back of themselves.
Nice. Thanks for that answer. No, this for me again. Sorry about listening. This for me again. How can I, as a parent, know if I'll put my child through something traumatic? From me dealing with children, right? Some children will tell me, and I'm sure you get this as a counselor, right? Because I'm not a counselor, they will tell me.
Right.
So I'm sure you get this, that my mommy don't even know what she do. My mommy don't feel that she doing that as an issue. Like, you will hear that a lot. Then obviously you will got different questions to answer that I would not know because you're a professional.
Right.
But for me, it's to myself, clearly there got to be questions that should be answered this child, or there should be things that they should be doing with this child to find out really what is the real issue or where the trauma comes from. Because children would say that to me a lot, bro. Like, my mommy don't even know what she do. You know, my daddy don't even know what she do. He even think that's an issue. And it might be something that me myself as an adult feel like it's simple, you know what I mean? Something like, man, don't drink that drink. But my girl no drink a drink all over. My child see my girl drink a drink.
That's right.
And in my child mind, that trigger, she off so much, sir, that he want to drink and not me and I see child go.
That's right.
These real stories.
Real stories.
You know what I mean? Like, how can we get parents to see those things? Because me as an adult might be guilty of certain things that I not see it.
That's right. I normally say that hurt people hurt other people, right? And sometimes you have parents who themselves have been traumatized, and so they will traumatize their own children. As a matter of fact, what we see though oftentimes is that sometimes these childhood issues are across generations. You know, if you were to check even some of our penal institutions, you'll find that the grandfather was in prison, the father and not the son, right? You know, so you have cross generation issues, and sometimes you have to talk to those parents about what they're doing, and explain to them why what they're doing is wrong and what's the impact on the child. I mean, I've seen that so many times in my practice. You know, where a parent, because of how hard they may have grown up, you know, the pressure that they were under, they struggle, man, you know, and as far as they're concerned, you're going to struggle too.
Yeah, that is,
you understand?
That's the way.
But what they don't understand is that they're actually causing great pain to that child. So at times, man, you got to hold the parents' hand and help them understand their behavior. Now, in terms of what we drink and stuff, there may be valid reasons why the child can't have a drink. It may be alcoholic. The child may probably just be 13 or 12, right?
But we lack of being able to explain to the child.
That's the point. And so the parent has to know, explain to the child why his girlfriend or boyfriend or friend
Can't have it.
Instead
of, because you know what I mean, you know when you tell my child that you business who the father here,
right?
That's me.
And to our slaps.
Nah. And I make sure that yeah, this
Right.
being real, but I rude, you know what I mean? So I don't want to beat much people around me. Not like beat people, but you know.
Much people.
No, I don't beat people.
But still,
you know how it's moved. You know, people like test me there. So thankfully, so I never had to hit my children, and I thank them for that. I really appreciate it.
That's good. That's good.
I don't mind. I'm not afraid to, but just that for some reason I never test daddy. Mommy beat them a lot.
Yeah. No, me sometimes not a lot.
A lot.
Oh,
about 15, 16.
Okay.
So you know over years, they got last year, that's 16, last year, that's a lot.
Right. And how did they good children, right?
Great, they don't better great from around me.
Yeah, but they good children, man. They good children. So I lost my kid, buddy.
Amen.
Some boy, this one Gabby, everyone bargain this one Gabby biased, amen. But I am mad with it though, I can't do it, and it could be that my children got me right around the finger too, you know what I mean? But I can't get my children hit. It feels violent.
And let me say to you those so like that I'm not suggesting for 1 second that we beat our children, huh? I mean,
No.
But I'm suggesting that there are times when, because of extreme behavior, there needs to be extreme measures.
My eyes feel good, son. I mean, children get lashes and all because I can't do it. And they know that a child, son, maybe my godfather, me, my dad, a bunch of that. You know what I mean? My tell yourself, he ain't gonna hit me. You know what I mean? So it's glad when I got people like one that would beat them.
But there's one thing I
Let's be honest.
I'm gonna dodge that one, right? But there's one thing I say to you though, that you know, it's like our culture is very. It's driven by violence, though, you know. There's violence in everything, you know, movies, there's violence in terms of our games.
Yeah, music.
I saw this game called Mortal Kombat, you know?
Yeah.
I mean that game is so violent, and all those small children are imbibing itself. Right?
That Mortal Kombat so light. Mortal Kombat so light compared to what they got real playing games. And then they got RPGs.
I saw one where the person got shot, they fell down and blood came out. Some car business.
Bro, that is normal, that is standard. Every game and the games are forward, you know what I mean? They advertising the heart. But that is normal, no. It really, you know what I mean? It's real music. You got games now we could get people taking real cars, killing people.
That's right.
And music background playing with your favorite artists.
Yes.
Like that is a issue. So you're all counselors, they want to hear how you're all counselors deal with that because it's so popular. It's a big part of the culture. Violent games is something like if you're the child, if you're the young child and you got a game, one of your games gotta be a game of violence.
But not just violent games, though, you know. We get videos on our cell phones of events. I mean, things like the accidents, and we see all the blood star all over the car and stuff. And to me, what that does though is that actually desensitizes the individual to the reality of death. And so what it does, it also raises the whole sector of violence because no longer is there that strong sense of the sanctity of life. And so as you get me vexed, I take out my knife and bang. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, that's it. I saw this video some time ago of an event that was occurring in Barbados where the person was shocked. And the comment that was made was that, hey, just get cut, that's all.
Yeah.
Desensitized.
Yeah, plus, but you know these weird things too. So you know, if nowadays people getting the other thing, you know what I mean. I don't want to say the words, but you know, if no, it's customary. We don't cut it anymore. We do the other thing.
Yeah.
So if the other thing is just a cut,
Yeah.
you see how we now say. You see how we now say. That's it come to these further rationalize things. Just I guess to lessen the pain psychologically. Like so, you weren't shot. You were just cut.
That's right. So
Which is sad,
Sad.
boy. Which is sad they gonna do that
so
because
it shows where we are.
you know what I mean? It clearly shows where we are mentally, as a nation. You think there's ways that you think there's ways to manage anger. Anyone there listening to the conversation we're having, I know we're going back and forth, having dialogue, and I love it. But are there any tips that you can share with whether it's parents listening, whether it's youth leaders like myself, whether it's popular person with influence like in and Chris scale? Are there tips that you can tell us that we can then pass on to persons who might not be listening on how to manage anger?
Well, I would say first and foremost, you need to accept that anger is a normal emotion. Secondly, we teach persons how to be able to express our anger without becoming aggressive, you know, to be assertive and not be aggressive. You can talk about how you feel, you can get it out, you know. And the third,
assertive but not aggressive.
yes, and the third thing I would say though, in terms of managing anger, is that persons need to be able to recognize when the anger is from them or when it's caused by someone else, and how do you manage that in terms of being caused by someone else, right?
Don't go on. Every time I understand, right? Young people that are listening, right? If you don't understand what he's saying, he's telling you how not to be a program dummy. You know, like terms young people use. I'm the boy program dummy.
Yeah.
Go.
Right, and so the issue then really has to do with recognizing that because it's normal, you gotta manage it, you gotta deal with it, you gotta talk about it, you gotta get it out, but don't hit. Get it out, but don't hit. You know, I think that may message. And also, what I would say too is that it has to be intentional in every sphere of society. Parents, schools, churches, social clubs, youth leaders. I think that we have to all have as our you know a mandate that we want to teach anger management whenever it occurs. So we have youth club, two guys are quarreling, so they do this here. In school, you try to have a problem with teacher, let's do this here. In church, you know, same issue. So it has to become on our national agenda to be intentional in terms of how we manage and teach anger and be able anger management and be able to use real life scenarios, like you not just talk and text, but real life scenarios. When it happens, you deal with it right there. So persons have to be trained to deal with the anger.
Now you another question, last question. You think sports and art
of course.
and these different things helps children navigate either mental issues or anger issues? You think that these things help?
But sport and art have an expressive function, right? So and a lot of the issue in terms of anger is often because of bottled up issues in person's life. So sport and art allows persons to express, to get emotions, to be able to to draw it or to, or to box it out or to hit the ball, So it's an expressive function that it has and very, very useful, yes.
I like that. You play cricket, going to hit some sixes in there.
That's right,
Try to score some goals for that goalkeeper. If you play a draft, you mean, give the man a 6 love, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, I like it, I love it. And this conversation we have to continue having, especially when dealing with tips to manage anger and different methods we can use and things that we already have. Because when you hear you speaking, it sounds like we already have the resources we need to manage anger on a wide scale. Before we go global, it's something we have all the resources we need to manage anger on a wide scale. So I would love, sir, to have a further conversation with you on this, because for me, I think it's imperative if you want to develop as a nation, to learn how to manage anger, to learn how to deal with conflict resolutions, and for tips on how to manage our anger.
And I think that what NTI is doing is excellent. And I would want to kind of just challenge persons who are involved in working with youth, working with people generally.
Yes.
To do the course, so you have the tools to deal with anger as it occurs within your context. I think that's very, very important. And I think it has to be, everyone has to be engaged in it, because that's the only way we'll be able to bring some sort of relief and release to this anger situation that seems to be impacting our nation.
Love it. Wonderful show. Anderson Kellman, bigger in and Chris Gill. Anderson Kellman, who's a counselor at NTI.org.bb. Managing emotions in times of uncertainty and stress. Indian, managing emotions in times of uncertainty and stress. And what is the cost? Free. 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 Over 5,000 free courses. NTI.org.bb, the nation's #1 station, Hot 95.3, the hottest show in the world. In and Chris Gill, big up on yourself. Sluggy, I'm out.
That's right, so Sluggy that big at 7. Mr. Anderson Kellman, big yourself a passing through, all right? That's right. Okay, guys, that was your Midweek mindset.
Let me get you're talking about tips that low, right? See right there below. See right here talking about tips to manage your anger. Thing right, see right there below. See you. There's a whole short in itself, yes. And it needed.
There was no dairy, okay? There was no dairy in that. There was no